Ever used a canoe in the ocean? You will today. Cue the music. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, and welcome to another fake episode of the Good Leader Podcast. Why? Because we don't know what we're doing and we're terrible, but we're here anyway. That's the life lesson I learned last week as we talked about imposter syndrome, and the three ladies that are on the show with me today have just said, just fake it till you make it.
This man
just
is so dramatic, y'all. Like, I just can't even.
That's what you said. That is what you said. Yes,
I think I more so said women have a hard time.
I heard all that.
Don't put us in a box. My bigger takeaway was that.
You know, I do like women having a harder time. That's true. Wait, what I mean is I like the thought. That was very powerful.
What?
I agree with that.
That didn't make it better.
That did not make it better. Sorry.
Just so you know.
Disclaimer, this man really isn't condescending to women in real life.
Thank you. No, what I was going to say is that was a powerful notion. I mean, the research backs it up that more women statistically will have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
But I like the conversation about what is underneath that. And even thinking of, like when we did the lean in episodes and those sorts of things, this is all very much tied together. But after considering our conversation last week, I have a question for everyone. Okay. And I'm going to start with my powerful question. Then we're going to get to our, I've got a Gen Z game of the day that I'm really curious. It's out of left field for you, Jess, but I think you're going to like it. I need your help. This is me asking Gen Z for help.
Wow.
So, but before we get to there, this imposter syndrome, as I was thinking about it, and we've done some research, I've been reading more articles. My canoe in the ocean, those are both acronyms for the big 5 personality traits, which we'll get to later in the episode. Kind of fun. I learned that. I was like, wow, I've never heard of that.
Nice.
Thank you. But is your imposter syndrome the key to your success? That's my powerful question.
Wow, that's terrifying.
I think for me, because we talked about the super person, the perfectionist, the soloist, the natural genius. I'm missing one. What was it? The soloist.
Perfectionist?
I said perfectionist, natural genius. I've got it in my notes. But anyway, we talked about those 5 types.
I think
among those types, the expert.
I think it depends.
Was the other one I missed. Like
what Andre's saying. Some people will put a label on it just so they can avoid it. And then also, if you simplify it, it becomes easier to approach. I think it just depends
how you're using it.
How you're are you willing to approach it? Are you actively growing based on the evidence you've collected from how your behaviors exist? Or are you just avoiding it?
Well, we're going to unpack this imposter syndrome a little bit more. And last time it was kind of the big overview and we looked at those 5. Now we're going to look at some symptoms that you should be considering and how to deal with those. But before we even get to that, my question was okay, I'm trying to be self-aware with this question. And if I identify in those 5, and truthfully, I actually thought if you just think of those 5, that's more powerful than even using the words imposter syndrome. Talking about the language, and I said, well, it's a spectrum of doubt, fear, worry, anxiety. But even if it's saying I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, it's I'm dealing with being a perfectionist, the expert, the natural genius, the soloist, or the superhuman. That's actually more powerful to me. Now, what you just said and what Anj said last week is true. Well, maybe people don't want to deal with that. Maybe so. But for me, as I look at that, and I said, well, the expert and the super person, the superhuman, are the 2 that I identify with most. But I would say if you remove that from my personality, I'm not going to succeed. Yeah. Potentially.
It feeds you.
It feeds me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's healthy. I think anything taken to an extreme extent can be unhealthy. That's just one of my fundamental beliefs. No matter what it is. I exercise. Yeah, like a maniac. That is unhealthy.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So anything taken to the extreme. But my point is, if my expert and superhuman is used in moderation, it actually drives me. Right. I think it fuels me. It has led to a lot of my success. Now, I will say there can be an unhealthy side. I do feel the pressure to, you're sitting in church and you feel the pressure to be a better or best volunteer. Yes. You're at a soccer field and you feel the pressure to be the best dad. Yes. I feel that everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So, but if it drives me, if it fuels me.
Well, I think,
how do we feel about that?
It's turning it into fuel. Because I think when you have something negative, right? But if you're turning it and using it as fuel into something positive, that's actually a really beautiful thing. Right?
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a practical example for something else. like sadness, right? Experiencing sadness and grief because of something, which everyone does. But using that to turn it into an empathetic experience that I'm like, wow, I actually can connect to people better now because I've experienced that. And there's something positive. Or I feel stressed, and the proper, thing of feeling stressed is turning it into something like, I'm going to use that as like energy. Man, things are like cortisol's like spiking in my body. And instead of having anxiety take over, it's like, I can use that as fuel to get what I need to get done better. The problem is, when that becomes really negative, and that becomes your whole personality trait, and you're not using it in a positive way as fuel, but you're using it in a way of like, this is my whole personality. And if I fail people, then I'm a failure and I can't do anything. Then I'm like, okay, then it's not positive anymore. Then there's a line that's crossed. That's like a problem.
I think my experience is that short answer could be yes. Long answer is it catches up to you.
Okay.
And I don't think there's a way to get it to not.
Based on your behaviors. Yeah.
Yes. So I would also say that it's fueled a lot of my success. I'd also say it's fueled, looking backwards now, a lot of my burnout, a lot of my anxiety, a lot of the ways I've shown up as a mom that I didn't want to show up as because something else was getting that attention or getting the thing that was fueling it. So has it led to more of my success? Probably. But has it helped me become more of who I want to be? I'm not sure if that part would be as true.
It's just an interesting thought, because I would say, to Rochelle's point, I'm not consciously doing it. It's not like I'm consciously turning this into a positive. I'm just saying I feel the superhuman pressure and therefore succeed. So it's not that I'm consciously going, I'm going to take this negative and turn it positive. It's like, no, that's kind of who I am or what I deal with. But the outcome is actually not all negative. The outcome is actually fairly positive in terms of achievement.
I mean, everything requires boundaries, right? Like, you have to have boundaries with everything. And if, the way you are achieving happens to be becoming a negative thing, a negative outlet that you're constantly behaving, like, obviously you're going to go downhill.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very hard question for me to answer, because I've argued with my therapist on this, and that's why I'm like, well, I have me in the back of my head, and then I have my therapist in the back of my head, and she will answer differently, because I have literally told her, like, we've, come at various issues I have, probably from growing up, probably from life, all things, right? But I'm like, okay, that's great. Those make me really awesome, though. Like, if I keep seeing you, I'm just walking this out.
Yeah.
If I keep seeing you, and then I heal those parts of me that, I won't lie, have brought a lot of my success, up to this point.
Right.
That is going to make me feel, will I be successful anymore?
Great question.
Right. Yeah. I mean, mine is perfectionism. And it's funny because I feel like that kind of feeds into the test that we just took that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I got conscientiousness, and that is a very detailed oriented personality trait. And perfectionism is constantly makes me better. I mean, if I don't feel that something is a complete 100%, it causes me to do better the next time. So,
but I want to preface for the people listening, I had this argument with my therapist. I can feel counselor Rochelle on me, like, and what did she say?
I'm on team Anch, by the way.
What did she say?
You're right. I don't know why you're paying this.
Hold on.
Stop. Boundaries. That's why. Probably.
So, well, we do, disclaimer, we do a lot of EMDR work. So I should say this isn't just talk therapy. It's a lot of other, I could get into that later. But
what's EMDR? Does it stand for something?
I've heard it really works.
You should do it. You want to describe what it is?
EMDR? We can Google it up later. We'll Google it up later. I don't want to diatribe.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter. But
it doesn't matter for this. Keep going.
It is a lot more brain work, I will say, than just, it's not like I just sit there, share feelings. And
nothing wrong with sitting there talking to Sharon, by the way.
There is nothing wrong with it. No, I started years of my life in talk therapy. This kind of just brings me to another level. Anyway, I knew in doing this work, I was like, it literally changes the way that your brain processes. Yeah. Is the shortest way to say it. So I'm like, so there is, and you have no control. That's what I don't like about EMDR is I'm like, well, in talk therapy, I can totally control how I frame something, the way I'm retelling you that story.
I already don't like this therapy session and will not be doing it.
Hey, maybe you need it then.
Yeah.
But I love me.
But EMDR, you do not get the option to control what your brain does with the little buzzers is what it does. And so I told her before I started, it's awful.
Yeah,
I told her before I started it, like, so I'm going to have no choice really if I do this, but to like, change, like I can't control what my brain, and she was like, no, exactly. So but I kept going. And so because we do not talk about this enough. I think, especially for people who are driven like you and I've heard artists talk about this too. This one artist, NF, he used to put out some really, really good music solely based out of his like depression, anxiety. No, his last album was like the best it's ever done.
Oh, okay.
And so that's like his like success story kind of. And I don't know what he's doing now. This was forever ago that I listened to it. But I will say his music's actually gotten better, which is wild because it was really good before and it was written out of. So anyway, I want to say I had that argument with my therapist about a year ago.
Okay.
And I genuinely think I didn't actually believe her, but in just continuing to show up like she told me to, I genuinely feel more successful, more at ease, less anxiety, and still as though I hold all those superpowers I still once had, but in a different way. Like I can also, it's weird because I think I can also turn them off when I need to. I did not have that ability before. If I'm being really self-aware, I did not have the ability to do that before. Where if I was like perfectionist in the way that you're saying, it drove me until it drove me into the ground.
Yeah.
I have ways to kind of turn that off now when it needs to be turned off and understand when I don't need to show up that way. I don't need to save the day that way. I don't need to make sure that was perfect that way. I can actually let others down now. I really would not have been okay with that before. I mean, like the anxiety of thinking of letting someone down before would have crippled me.
Yeah.
Now I can see it for what it is. And so I really do want to say, because I think we do have a lot of young leaders listening, if you're worried that healing will take those powers away, I know Jerrod and I are joking, but it in my experience it's actually only made it more enhanced and better.
Well, and my question is sincere. I know we are joking a lot, but I do believe it's like, oh, well, if you say, oh, Jerrod, you're the superhuman and expert, you deal with that. And that's bad. I would say, well, okay, I can see that, but also I can see how that has driven me.
There's positive aspects.
There's a positive aspect to it that has driven me.
It's giving you results.
It's giving you results.
I'm applauded by other people.
Absolutely.
What do you do with that?
And not only applauded by other people, applauded by myself. Like I want it. I want the results that I've gotten. So why are y'all laughing at that?
It's just so
It's just, that's...
Okay, but seriously, it's not like I'm going, oh man, I'm over here a basket case because I'm trying to be a superhuman. I'm like, no, I like the results that I've gotten. And I'm hopefully self-aware enough to know that, well, this is probably why. And is that unhealthy at times? Absolutely. Sure. Has that brought some anxiety in my life? You betcha. More sadness than anything else for letting people down. It's more the sadness piece for me. But I have not been through EMDR therapy. So I like that we're doing this because this is the Good Leader Podcast. You've got some leaders over there that are very self-aware, that are going through therapy, that are any of the things. You've also got other leaders like myself that are just, you know what? We're just, chopping down the tree with our own axe. We can do this. All right. I don't need help. So
super healthy.
That is completely tongue in cheek, by the way. That is completely tongue in cheek. Yeah. Do I need therapy? Yes. Lots of it. Absolutely. Yes. Do I have time? No. So I think a lot of people can identify with that. Should I make time? Also, yes. Am I going to? Again, no. So if that's you, if that is your sentiment, let me give you Jerrod's amateur hour to help. This is not a therapeutic answer. This is, wow, that's a good question. Does that drive you? Yes, it does. Is it problematic? At times. I liked that you did. I didn't read Brene Brown's stuff, but I like the phrase permission slips. Yeah. That's where I've evolved. Yeah. My evolution has not been in that I don't deal with it, but it's that I give myself the permission slips, which I used the church example in the last episode. That's an area of my life where I've given myself a big permission slip, where I'm like, you know what? Hold on. God doesn't really care about how much I volunteer. That's my personal belief. And to keep my personal faith out of it for a second, but just the permission in that area of my life that's important to me to go, it's okay to not be a superhuman here. You're just a human in this space. And that's okay. So for us laity out here who are going like, well, I haven't gone through a year of EMDR. Can you help me today? Probably should. You probably should invest. I should invest in that. But what's the book by Brene Brown? Do you have it? Let's give that recommendation or credit where credit's due.
She talks about it in a lot of her books. But Dare to Lead specifically has an activity on it.
Yeah, that's okay. I was going to say, I'm familiar with it, but I've read Dare to Lead a long time ago, so I need to reread it.
Dare to Lead, probably my favorite of her thus far. But she does talk about it in a lot of different areas of her work. And
so again, check out Queen Brene's work. We do love it, and it is very helpful. But I like that idea of permission slip, and that's where, and this may be oversimplifying, But for me, I can see where I have grown from allowing my superhuman trait to control me versus me controlling the trait.
Well, I was going to say,
that makes sense. I mean, that makes me sound silly even, but there are times I'm like, wow, why are you doing this today? I don't know. I don't want to. Then I'm like, no, I'm not going to show up. I don't have to show up like a superhuman there.
Right. Yeah, but I will say the ability to write a permission slip has to first start with knowing you need to write one.
Okay.
And so that's where I would argue, sure, maybe you didn't do EMDR, whatever.
Right.
But I would say there's, just in knowing you, there's a lot of different outlets you take in life that would present kind of therapy in different ways, so much so that you have learned to be a more self-aware person in that you can even tell yourself sitting in that church service, no, you know what? My need right now to be the best is coming out. I'm going to give myself permission slip to not do that. I would argue there's at least 50% of the world that don't even get themselves to the first step.
That's a good point.
Wow, this need is coming out. What do I do with it? I think a lot of us more so suppress it, numb it. That's a lot of the reason why a lot of people go to things like EMDR is you can't get it out of you. It's so ingrained in your thinking or in your brain. So if you're more so in that place, I think that's a different step. I love what you're saying. And I think there's a lot of leaders who could probably get themselves there too of like, where do I need those permission slips? But if you find yourself in this phase even before that, you really might be at some stuck points where I would encourage like mentorship or accountability or a coach or therapist. In my personal life, that is the only thing that has gotten those things out of me. I could have not done anything for myself. I didn't know what I needed. So I think it's kind of a toss-up between the two. But I would argue you're a pretty self-aware leader to know.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that comes through work. And I, like I said, all jokes aside, I'm a huge believer in therapy and need a lot more. But the amateur version over here is consistently, even listening to this podcast, challenging yourself. Why? Reading a lot of material, reading a diverse amount of material. I know Jess and I joke about her assigning me Untamed years ago for me to read, which is not a book in my personality. But I specifically read different things. I specifically challenge myself to read things. I was like, okay, this is not just reinforcing my own beliefs. It's challenging my beliefs. Now, are those things hard to read? Absolutely. Would I rather just read something that just reinforces everything I believe? Sure, that's easier. But the challenging of yourself, the challenging of your mind to ask, why do I think this? Why do I believe this? Why do I work in this way? Just even those basic questions to me are the entry path to self-awareness.
Right.
Why am I doing this? Why am I acting this way? Why am I, did I do today everything that I wanted to do or be? Yeah. And just taking some, what's a good word here? Just taking some self-assessment.
Yeah.
We took a self-assessment on it actually wasn't a self-assessment. It was just an assessment. We answered the questions and they spit out the ocean that we are swimming in. And after the break, we're going to tell you what our personality traits are, the big 5 personality traits after the break.
Paradigm Shift is the retailer for team building resources. The Paradigm Shift store is your one-stop shop for card decks and other team building resources. Visit www.ps.company/store today.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, I've gotten my questions, my seeking help from my Gen Zers over there. Jess and Rochelle. Rochelle, you're a Gen Zer, right?
No, she's not.
I'm not.
You're a millennial?
Yeah.
But you're close, though.
I'm right in,
you're
right
on the border.
cusp.
Yeah, you're on the cusp. Okay.
Yeah.
So
she presents as more of a millennial.
Okay, so
I am absolutely
but
more than me.
Well, for this activity, 2 of the 3 of you are going to be helpful. And I had a very cutesy way that I was going to talk about masks and imposter syndrome and tied into Halloween, but I couldn't find the segue in the first segment. So that's what I was trying to do. Didn't work. But Halloween's coming up. It's just around the corner. And I have, from the New Yorker magazine, the 15 very timely Halloween costume ideas.
Ooh. Oh.
And where I need your help is I don't know what they are. So we're going to go through this.
You don't know what any of them are?
I know some.
Okay.
You're going to tell me if you know what it is.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to play Do You Know It? All right, this game is called Do You Know It? My assumption is I will lose and know the least, and Anj will be second. She will know the second least.
She'll be this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot.
I might know more than you're saying?
Maybe.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to read what the game is. I'm not going to read the explanation of it. I'm just going to read the title. Challenger's Final Match. Do you know what that is? That's one that I knew.
Challenger's Final Match. Yeah,
Challenger's Final Match.
It's a movie.
Hold on, it's a costume. Yes,
it's a
movie.
movie.
Don't tell us yet. Okay, because we gotta know if people know.
Oh, y'all are guessing.
Do you know or not? And you're just being Challenger's Final Match. Do you know? I know.
I know.
Anj is out. Do you know Challenger's Final Match?
Yes.
What is it?
It's from the movie The Challengers, the tennis.
Who stars in it? Let's see if this is
Zendaya's in it.
Correct.
And then I don't know anyone else.
Points. That's close.
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
either. I don't know either, but it's the Zendaya tennis movie.
Yeah.
I knew that one. Good
Yep.
point. It was sports though, so that helped me. All right, number 2. Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney. I did not know. Totally out. Oh, Immaculate with this is so the game is if you're driving down the road and we're just chit chatting. I don't know what I'd be for Halloween, and I'm giving you suggestions, and I say you should be the Challenger Final Match. I would go, oh, okay, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerrod, you should be Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney. I'd be like, what? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I
do know what it is.
Jess is 2 for 2. Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney. Do you know?
I don't.
Anj is out.
No.
Anj 2 for 2. I'm winning. I'm beating Anj. Okay, so far I'm in second place. It's a creepy nun costume, courtesy of Sydney Sweeney's turn as a scream queen in Immaculate. So another movie.
Okay, that is where my mind went.
Yeah,
but
she's a nun.
But
I
you
wasn't
can't just
100%.
guess movies.
Yeah.
It's not a guessing
I
game.
know.
like-
I
And
didn't.
y'all are
Is it
playing right.
is it a
I'm
horror
telling the people
movie?
at home. I think it's a horror movie.
Yeah, that's why I know nothing about it.
Chapel Roan's VMA performance.
Love.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I do know that.
Okay, who was she at the VMAs?
Who was she?
Yeah. So you got to dress up like she dressed up at the VMAs. This is going to test if you know it.
I know
I did
it.
not, by the way. I did not.
I
did not.
I don't
I'm
know
out.
that.
Okay. Do you know it?
I have like this image in my head,
Yes,
and I
take
don't
a
know
guess. Take
if
a
it's
guess,
true.
Rochelle. This is fun. Take a guess.
But I mean,
Take a guess.
the thing I have is she's like in
If
this
you get close,
leotard,
you get close.
and there's like this bright colors.
I'll give you a hint.
There's like a sparkly.
She's a famous.
Yeah, she's a
famous
singer.
historic. She is, but she is a famous historical figure. She's dressed up as a historical figure.
Oh, see,
I
I don't know
the
what it
historical
is.
figure.
Oh, I didn't know she was dressed up as somebody.
Yeah.
I know what she's wearing.
Well, what's she wearing?
She's
Let's
wearing
test
like there's a castle and she's wearing like a knight.
You got it.
A
You nailed
knight
it.
and
Joan of
shining
Arc.
armor.
She's
Joan
Joan
of
of
Arc.
Arc.
Yeah.
She is her interpretation of Joan of Arc.
It's another Zendaya reference. It's fine.
So
Met Gala.
point for
I mean,
Jess.
Zendaya's
I'm out.
taking over the
okay, here we go.
world.
Sabrina Carpenter. I do know she's a singer, right?
Yes.
Okay, got that.
I love that I know all of these.
You are. I said I'm coming.
I feel
I'm
so
coming to you
good
for
about
help.
myself.
And I gave
knew.
the handicap. I
Yeah.
ranked it. I was
I
like,
knew.
I'm the least. Although
I re-ranked it.
1-0. I know.
No, I'm.
Sabrina Carpenter and Jenna Ortega. Oh, Jenna. Wait, is Jenna
Yes.
Ortega? Wait, is she in the
she
Addams
is.
Family?
Yep. She's Wednesday.
The Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm feeling pretty good about that actually.
Okay.
Wow.
In taste.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a music video.
Oh, it's a music video. No, I was out on that. Okay. Wait, nice. Y'all are killing it.
Yeah.
I am not. Okay.
The black
Yeah.
dresses.
Industries.
Iconic.
Yasmin Kara Hanani.
Industries.
Industry. I'm just reading. I'm just reading it. I don't know. I will say I don't know this one either. Industries. Yasmin Kara Hanani as Diana, Prince of Wales. I guess
Oh.
Industries a show.
I mean,
I can see Jess's like wheels turning.
Yeah.
because
She's like
Prince of Wales.
No, Prince. I know who Princess Diana is.
Yeah, I know, but what did the last part say?
As Diana, Princess of Wales.
Princess. Okay.
Yeah.
When
so
at first I thought you said
no.
Prince.
So she's evidently playing Diana
Yeah.
in the show industry. I'm assuming it's a show.
I've never even heard of
Okay,
it.
we're all out on that one. We don't know
Yeah,
what that is.
don't know.
We know what Princess Diana is, of course. But
Well, my guess is they're dressing up as Princess Diana.
well, yes, but you're specifically
some people,
going.
outfit,
some
though.
people don't know who Princess Diana is.
No,
I feel like I need
Are you
to.
serious?
I didn't really know who she was till The Crown came out.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm very serious.
Oh my dad.
I knew
That makes me
her
feel so
as
old.
a 2000
You lived your
90s,
life.
2000s outfit.
Like a candle in
culture
the
queen.
wind.
That is fair. I did know, like, I could have seen a picture and known she's like,
The hair, the pearl earrings.
Yeah.
but I couldn't have
Cole
told you her name.
Escola. Cole Escola. We were done with that. The audience was done. Come on, you gotta know when
you
to, you gotta
were
know when
done
to move
with
on.
that.
I am the voice of the audience. Okay, trust me. Trust my internal clock. Cole Escola's. Do you know who that is? Cole Escola.
No.
Okay, this is awesome. I knew this one.
I was about to be
Love.
like, man,
Cole
I'm really
Escola's
disappointed. I don't know
Mary
more.
Todd Lincoln.
Nope.
No.
What?
I knew this one. It's a musical. It's a man. He dresses up as Mary Todd Lincoln, and it's a
Wait.
musical. It's on Broadway.
I do know
and,
about
and,
this.
And it's called Oh Mary.
Yes,
I knew
and
this
he
one.
wrote it, and
yeah,
he stars
wrote
in
it.
it.
He stars
Yeah.
in it. Cole Escola in.
I'm not a Broadway girly.
I'm actually doing better than
far
I thought.
from a
Cole
Broadway
Escola.
girl.
That's a
Not a
picture.
Broadway girl.
Yes.
And I definitely, if you would have shown me a picture, I was like, yeah, that's the. I will admit, I don't know if I get points. I did not know his name, but if you said, "What's a good Halloween costume?" You should dress up like that guy as Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah.
and I'd be like, "Oh, like the musical."
Yeah.
So that's where I'm giving myself credit.
Actually, yes. Okay. I know that one.
New York City's. This is not pop culture. This is recent news.
Okay.
New York City's trash revolution.
Oh.
What does that tell you? Do you know what I'm talking about? If you said like that, does he know? Like, I'm out. I don't know anything. Or
Gosh.
yeah, it's this thing. New York City's trash revolution. I actually know this one.
Nope.
Wow.
Because
Did you do research on this?
Promise no. I promise no. Now I have the advantage of I'm hosting, so if you just said that to me, I don't know. I can't in all honesty answer what I was saying. But I think I would. Here's what I think I would have said. Okay. New York City's trash revolution. I would say like where they came out and said, we're going to start using trash cans, which they did. And it's hilarious. And so it's like dressed as a trash can. But that was
literally going to say, are you talking about just being a trash can?
Yes.
That's
the
a Halloween costume?
That's what they're saying. But the relevance is because I was going to say, you probably knew that. Like
I knew that, but it didn't feel right that you were dressed up as a trash can.
But that's it. Coming out and saying, so some play on that, like be I think the real costume would be something like be the guy. And I can see it. I watched the press conference. The guy, like, he announced it. He had a trash can beside him.
Wow.
So, or if you're like a partner pair, if you're, I guess I could see that.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It'd probably make more sense just in New York City.
All right. I've just got two more and then we're done. Okay. This one I did not know. I was out on this one all the way. I was out 100% of the way. Anna Delvey.
Oh. Anna Delvey?
Is that a person?
From Dancing with the Stars?
It is a person. Sorry.
No, but also from the TV show.
What TV show?
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars. No, that's the costume.
She's in
Jess
her
is on fire.
Own TV show.
She's got a...
Oh, is that the costume?
Yes.
Dancing with the Stars?
But what's special about the costume, Anj?
She has
No, I don't know.
Just tell us.
She has an ankle monitor.
She has an ankle bracelet. She was like under arrest or probation or something.
She just got out of prison.
So she should...
Oh my gosh.
She's from a different country. She should be deported, but they keep extending her a visa so that she can be on television, which is tea because like... Deportation and immigration is such a huge thing.
Yes, and they are just keep letting her be
She's been in prison here, and they keep letting her be here so that she can be on television.
But she was in a TV show, or like there's a TV show about her life called Inventing Anna, and it is fascinating.
I was going to talk about Inventing Anna. That's how I knew her.
Fascinating. Yeah, and I saw that she just got out, and that she was in like Dancing with the Stars, and I was like, what?
I thought it was going to be Inventing Anna was the costume.
No, the costume is the Dancing with the Stars. Jess, point again. All right, the last one I actually knew. I think we'll all know this one. Pommel horse guy. Pommel horse guy.
No. Oh, yep.
Pommel
horse.
I say it like a hillbilly from Oklahoma.
I don't know what that is.
Pommel horse guy. You don't?
I don't think I know that one.
Well, because it's from the
Olympics.
The guy who only the male gymnast that he did the pommel horse.
I was in China and I knew about that.
He does a Rubik's
I didn't know almost like anything else, but I knew that.
He helped us win
the Olympics. It was like
anyway, the pommel horse guy.
He is his job.
Okay, I knew the sports
pommel horse. Good job.
I did. I knew Challengers because it's a sports movie.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that.
I'm not either.
I'm shocked I knew any of the sports ones because the way I know nothing about sports.
Good job, Anj.
I'm happy to be right.
And Jess won. I really learned a lot from that. Most of that I didn't know. I did know the Mary Todd Lincoln guy. I don't know how, but I knew the Mary Todd Lincoln guy.
But I will say Challengers isn't really a sports movie.
It's not.
You really need to watch it.
I do not need to watch it.
Well, you don't.
You know I am not watching that.
You also need to
talk about filth, Jess.
Have you ever read Untamed?
The whole thing is just a triangle. That's the whole premise of the movie. Yeah, no, thank you.
I was really warned not to.
Yeah, thank you. That's like Dylan telling me A Handmaid's Tale is like right up my alley. Like it's everything you stand for, Jerrod.
Everything you stand for is wild.
I don't think so. That's not.
Let me think about that. I'm questioning what you think I stand for.
Met me? Well, I'm just saying you know that stuff. And I'm like, yeah.
What kind of stuff?
Yeah. I'm not watching Challengers. You know I'm not.
I thought you really liked sports.
Okay. Sports go sports.
I like to have fun on this podcast.
It is fun. It is fun. Okay, let's finish this out because
we took a quiz.
That unmasked our personalities. We couldn't hide from it. We were just our honest selves. Now, what's fascinating, and the reason we're tying this in as we close this out about imposter syndrome is that much of what imposter syndrome is connected to is your personality. Mm-hmm. Which as we unpack this, these have just been 2 therapy sessions because the truth is
so true.
How you're raised, who you are, what we talked about in the pre-production meeting. You know, this is all stemming back where Shell said all this stuff we're talking about really feels like your upbringing really matters. Absolutely. You know, and doesn't that affect everything every day for all of us?
All the time.
Really? Can we escape it? No, we can't. Us firstborns, we know. We gotta keep it going. We gotta make it happen. That's the way it is.
Lastborns?
You lastborn, lazy, good for nothings. No. Yeah, exactly.
I
Easy
feel like
your whole life.
I gotta make it happen.
Yeah, but you're kind of weird. You're a weirder.
You're weird.
You're like only child kind of, but then not.
You don't count.
But I'm also not.
Exactly.
No, you're
That's
not.
why it
That's
doesn't
what
count.
we're saying.
I'm saying you don't count. That one doesn't count. You don't fall into the classic birth order phenomenon.
And I take that.
You should.
You love that.
To heart.
Well,
yeah, thank you.
It wasn't a compliment. But what we're saying, though, is your personality, probably, if you do feel imposter syndrome, and here are just a quick other things, if we're like, okay, they keep really dancing around imposter syndrome on this episode. They're not really hitting it. If you didn't listen to the last episode, this is, some common traits. It feels like you have an inability to realistically assess your competence and skills. This is where the external attributes say you're doing great, you're successful, you deserve this, you've achieved this. Your internal dialogue says, I just know I'm not good enough, I can't handle this, I'm going to fail. They'll find me out, they'll discover me. And so I like that phraseology, an inability to realistically assess. Attributing your success to external factors, not your own. Meaning like, well, I got lucky or someone else. Like we talked about the soloist. Well, if you had help from others, we all have help. If you see a turtle on a fence post, you got to ask why it got there. Berating your performance, fear that you won't live up to expectations, overachieving, sabotaging your own success, self-doubt, setting very challenging goals and feeling disappointed when you fall short. Those are all some things that might be symptomatic of some imposter syndrome ideas and tendencies, but really your personality plays a lot into it. And the big 5 personality traits, I did not know this until this research. There are actually, and this is pretty widely accepted in psychological circles, there are obviously lots of ways that you can describe personalities, but it's openness, agreeableness, neuroticism, conscientiousness, and extroversion. You can remember that with the acronym CANOE or OCEAN.
Love
so
it.
either one, CANOE
That's where you got that
or OCEAN. Hey, did my homework.
That cold open there.
CANOE or OCEAN, and that's openness, agreeableness, conscientiousness, neuroticism, extroversion. And we did these, and just really quickly, it's a fun test. Let's give credit where credit's due. I think this was it Very Well Mind, Jess?
Yep.
Is that where it was?
verywellmind.com. It is the Big 5 personalities test.
There you go, the Big 5 personalities test. Really quickly, let's just do a quick overview. Do you feel this was an accurate test for you, and does it play into any of your imposter syndrome tendencies, ladies?
Yeah, I kind of hit on this.
Really?
I kind of hit on this a minute ago.
Okay.
Before the break. Perfectionism is definitely where my imposter syndrome kind of hits. And I got conscientiousness at 42%.
Whoa, that's high.
Test.
42%.
Yeah.
I had nothing that high.
As a conscientious person, you're very thoughtful, spend time preparing for any situation, and tend to be organized and detail oriented. We all have a variety of traits and behaviors that make up our individual personalities. Even if you show dominance in one trait, most people don't fall into the extreme version of that trait.
Wow. Okay.
I feel like that really, I feel very organized. Like I have to plan out my week. I have to be prepared. And when I'm not, I do feel like a failure. Like, for example, when real life example, when I messed up the podcast a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we remember.
I literally wanted to die.
Honestly, and you took it harder than anybody else. I didn't care at all.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, it was really like, no big deal.
Is a perfect example of like what it's like being.
Can use some recovery time.
And you can see that. So it's conscientious, leads to perfectionism, leads to imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I can see that pathway. And that's actually a really good way to kind of summarize the idea behind your personality traits leading to imposter syndrome. It's not like, people who are neurotic have imposter. No, but it's saying that personality trait, like Jess just said, conscientious is actually a positive personality trait.
Yeah.
But it leads you down this path of perfectionism at times, failure, imposter.
Absolutely.
That's a good real life example there, Jess. I appreciate it. Because when you posted that, it didn't bother me.
I was like, oh my God.
You really apologized. And I was like, it's okay, no big deal.
Well, we actually didn't respond.
Yeah, they said nothing.
Yeah, we really didn't say anything.
It made it 10 times worse.
The first response was nothing because I didn't care at all. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like,
I just wanted to know which ones we needed to record or redo. And we just literally didn't say anything.
about it again.
Okay, all right, let's move on. What's your number 1 personality trait?
I just learned how to read this quiz, even though we talked all about it right before this. I just am now realizing. I thought the whole quiz was like openness to experience. I'm just now realizing you're saying that's one of the 5. So
my
I take back everything I said earlier. I'm still pretty even split though. I'm 33%. And then I read only your quiz, which we have like the same. So I was like, oh, look, everyone has openness to experience. And then everyone has the rest. Okay.
Are you sure this therapy is good for you?
Depends on the day you ask me.
You say a year ago, huh?
Is there like an electric chair
I'm going to start tracking.
No, it might be easier if there was. Okay, 33% openness to experience. What is yours? Isn't yours also openness to experience?
Yeah, I'm number one at openness.
Okay.
37%.
So am I, and it was 33%, and I'd only looked at mine and only looked at yours, and so I was just like, okay, so that's how it opens. Is this openness to?
Oh,
anyway,
no, that's our number one.
I got it. I looked at the wrong. I should have used a different avatar.
Gotcha.
So I'm 33% openness to experience. And then I literally am 19%.
Well, that
on
part's
all
fine.
others.
That makes sense. Well, that's why I kept asking, because I was like, those numbers don't add up. They only gave you 80, you said, no, I've got like 4 at 20%.
I do.
Or 19. I'm like, well, that's not it. That's not even 100% or close
there's
to it.
33%
missing. There it is.
There it is, folks. All right. So
but it is weird. I'm literally 19% on all others. Very even split.
Huh.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right, Rochelle, what's yours?
I'm a 30% openness to experience.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Okay.
And then conscientious is my next one, a 28%.
Oh, those are too high bars.
Yeah.
Those are too high numbers. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I really like new things. And I also like to be very planned for the new things.
That
I
is
like both.
very
Okay.
appropriate for you. Conscious is my lowest one. Absolute lowest.
Neuroticism is my lowest one at 0%. Have apparently none.
0%.
Wow, and she works for me and you who are
That's
up here
really
like
cool. That's really cool.
all neurotic.
My neuroticism is 1.
Well, now, in fairness to us, I'm only 14% neurotic.
Yeah, I'm only 19.
So
But
it's not like
still,
that's our
my
dominant
second
trait.
highest.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Agreeableness was my second highest. I'm openness and agreeableness.
Well, okay. But interestingly, my conscientiousness and my extroversion are both tied at 28%.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're running really hot and cold over there.
Are you sure you're not neurotic?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, 0.
I think, and I want to pick up on something that Anj said about self-awareness. I want to take all of these, any personality assessment that you take, because I'm a huge fan. I like them. I like Enneagram. I like DISC. I like Strengths Finders. All of these things. The most powerful reason to take them is not that it is some sort of factual diagnosis. Don't take it that seriously or heavily. Mm-hmm. What I encourage you to do is, if you are sitting there going, wow, it's interesting talking about Anj and going through therapy and thinking about that. And Jerrod, at least not going through therapy, but working, even if you would say over the last 10 years of my life, I would say I have worked to be a more self-aware leader consciously. Personality assessment's a good place to start. Not because it's going to give you all the answers, not because it may even be accurate, but because it's going to go, is that true? Does that tell me something about myself? Ask other people. Do you see that in me? Even today, it was interesting because we had, in the pre-production meeting, we took this test and we're talking about it. We really had to research the definition of neurotic and go, oh, I guess I do have some of those tendencies. And this is what it means. So I encourage you, as we close this out, a practical step. How do we be good leaders? How do we overcome imposter syndrome? Knowledge is power. Asking yourself, do I feel that way? Maybe I do sometimes. I do feel like I have to fake it till I make it a lot. I would say if you feel that way a lot, you should probably do something with that. Now, yes, that's a personal trigger for me. But even if you're like, no, that's my mechanism. That's what I use. Fair. But are you doing it a lot? You feel it every day? You feel it every moment of every day? That's probably not healthy. You know, you're probably better than that. You probably are dealing with some imposter syndrome here. Yeah. What is it driven by? Maybe your personality. It's a great place to start and gives you some great, more language, more information to become better, to become self-aware, and hopefully be a happier, healthier person. So check it out. This is Ocean or Canoe. Give us that website one more time.
verywellmind.com, the big 5 personalities.
Big shout out to Very Well Mind. Very well pleased with my results. Thank you very much. Go out there and be a good leader.